the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My mic's not working.
Good evening and welcome to the July 8th, 2025 regular meeting of Jackson Township Council. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of this meeting on January 28th, 2025 for publication. Notice of this meeting of the Township Council has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. We will begin with roll call. Councilman Borelli.
Here.
Councilman Bressi.
Here.
Councilman Palmieri.
Present.
Council Vice President Bernstein.
Here.
Council President Kuhn. Also present this evening is Business Administrator Mr. Phillips, Township Attorney Mr. McGuckin, and myself, Deputy Clerk Jen Corelli. Alrighty. Council President?
Would you like me to read some things into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So we had a late add-on resolution authorizing the applicant to New Jersey Clean Energy Program Communication Energy Plant Grant. It's a program that we're asking for grant money in order to, the deadline was July 11th, so therefore we had to have it as a late add-on. Any late add-ons have to be read into the record at the beginning of the meeting, so therefore that's why I'm reading this in, if you haven't been here before. The second one is a ordinance number 2025-25. It's an ordinance for a landlord registration. The ordinance that was sent out to the public has been amended over the weekend. I had made some changes along with council. There's a fee charge. Annual landlord registration will increase from $125 to $225 effective January 1st, 2026. For the remainder of 2025, the fee will remain $125. Section 245-2 updated will remove the reserved position. Section 245-3 update registration forms and inspections, renaming registration forms and annual rental inspections. New Section E will add requires annual fire inspection, must include a check for the smoke and carbon monoxide alarms, fire extinguishers, and compliance with New Jersey AC 5-70-4-19. A non-transferable certificate will be issued upon compliance, which means if you don't have an annual rental and you change it within 3 months, you need to comply again. In-person inspections are required. Therefore, the landlord or their representative has to be in person along with our task force that we will be assigning, which we'll get into when we get into the ordinance at a later date in this meeting. Section 245-5 will update violations and penalties. Failure to register, $500 fine. Second offense, $750 fine. Third offense, $1,000 fine. If it's not going to be code enforcement, so we'll have to update that. There is a different name for this task force, is unable to conduct a full inspection related to fire safety compliance, a $250 daily penalty will be applied until the inspection is completed. Thank you.
We'll now hear opening comments from Township Council, starting with Council President Kuhn.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I want to take a moment to highlight the positive and productive steps being taken by both the Township Council and the administration since the hiring of our new business administrator last month. Together, we are working towards a shared goal, strengthening accountability and improving transparency within the departments that fall under the purview of administration, areas in which council has previously expressed concerns. Our newly appointed business administrator, Mr. Phillips, has committed to providing council with monthly department reports. This is a major step forward in improving the communication and oversight. These reports will give us valuable insight into departmental operations and allow council to better understand what is happening on the ground. For example, from the building department, we will now receive detailed reports such as number of inspections conducted, how many passed and how many failed, and which ones were rescheduled. Code enforcement will follow the same standards, including data and whether violations were abated, how many summonses were issued, and the nature of those violations. Just like we currently review zoning board activity, this report will help us to identify patterns and recurring issues, allowing for a more informed decision and timely action. This is not just about collecting data, it's about fostering accountability. These reports will show where our departments are successful and where improvements are needed, whether it's due to inefficiency, lack of communication, or service delays. While we already receive regular updates from the Department of Public Works, we're working towards even more comprehensive reports offering a clearer picture of projects, timelines, and operations and resources used. Council will continue to collaborate closely with the administration to help shape the reporting framework, ensuring we're asking the right questions for the most meaningful information from each department. We are hopeful that the administration will, in return, use these reports to monitor progress, address concerns, and implement needed improvements, ensuring that no issues fall through the cracks, which I've spoken with the business administrator, and he's right on target with that. Ultimately, our goal is to provide greater transparency for the residents of Jackson, so you know what's being done in your community and how your government is working on your behalf. Through continued collaboration and shared commitment to improve, we believe this reporting process will be a strong step forward to effective, accountable, and responsible local government. Thank you.
Council Vice President Bernstein.
Thank you, Clerk. I just wanted to take a moment and recognize all of our men and women in blue who are here tonight. Looking forward to the promotions. Secondly, I also just wanted to take a moment and thank Council President, I think all my colleagues here for their input on Ordinance 2025-25. It's been something we've been discussing and working on for probably about 8 months together. I had an opportunity in discussing it today with the mayor, and I think it's something that will help ensure some proper cleanup in our town with the rentals. And I encourage everyone to continue reporting when you do find rentals which are abusing what the current ordinances and the current law on the books. I also wanted to take a moment quickly and I had the opportunity, there's a resolution on the, I think it's R244-2025 with regard to Bartley Road. I want to thank again Commissioner Sadeghi and the entire county for coming down and starting that project. I had opportunity in speaking to the commissioner about an hour ago. With council president's permission, we invited him to come to our next council meeting. So residents of Jackson can get to see a little bit of the faces from the county, but also it's a chance for him to hear a little bit from us as a town, some of our challenges here. So we look forward to meeting and introducing Commissioner Sadeghi by our next meeting. Thank you and have a good night.
Councilman Borelli.
Thank you, Clerk. I want to congratulate our township police officers who are being promoted tonight. It's always an honor to be part of these council meetings when events like this take place and to see the officers and all of their supportive loved ones here. Of course, we support our men and women. We support all of you in blue here on the Township Council. And we keep you in our thoughts and prayers as you keep our town safe and secure 24/7. Also, I'm glad to see Ordinance 2025-25 on tonight's agenda regarding landlord registration, which is a huge issue we hear about from residents who we work for you. It's up there with overdevelopment, traffic, and of course, taxes. My hope is this ordinance will make headway in cracking down on illegal rentals in our town and overcrowding and helping to protect the quality of life for the residents of our town. I'm open to any suggestions building and code enforcement have after the ordinance goes into effect and as they are working within the parameters of it on a daily basis. In addition, I support home ownership, part of the American dream and part of our great country's free market system. However, owners have responsibilities when it comes to renting out their properties and need to follow the laws governing that. Tenants also may have responsibilities according to leases brokered between them and the homeowner or owners. However, it's ultimately the owner's responsibility to make sure their properties, which they are vested in our town, are being maintained, whether it's them or through a property manager, and that the structures are being properly and legally rented, and the township has a record of it. Also, on a lighter note, there's a lot going on in Jackson in our parks and recreational areas, which we have a bountiful of. And just wanted to share that there's a pickleball clinic that Jackson Recreation is sponsoring. And to find out more information about it, you can call the Recreation Department's office, where you can register on Community Pass, which is on our website. And it started on July 30th and it runs through to August 14th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Forest Drive in Jackson. For residents, like $75 to play, and for non-residents, $100. Good seeing you all. Take care and have a good evening.
Councilman Bressi.
Thank you. It is a pleasant night to be here at all our patrol offices and seeing promotions and the guys moving up. It's really great. It's a great feeling. I would like to mention one thing, maybe not directly in Jackson. I think everybody heard about the catastrophe in Texas. People could just take a moment out, reflect however you want to, and think about them. If you want to donate to them, it's a catastrophe that, thank God, we don't have to face. And it was really a horrible thing. But, and this resolution tonight, I read through it 3 or 4 times because I kept getting surprised by it. It's a very strong resolution, written great, and now as long as we can enforce it, it's a great thing. Thank you, and thank you for coming out tonight. Drive home safe.
Councilman Palmieri?
Thank you. I hope everyone had a meaningful and memorable Independence Day weekend. I also hope you took a moment to reflect on what July 4th truly represents, the birth of our republic, the greatest nation the world has ever known. Additionally, I would like to mention, and I think this is important, I was happy to hear about this, the Jackson Board of Education is working with the food pantry to have services available located at Memorial. I would like to, I almost made the lights go out with that. Wow. See that? See how important that is? We knew that it was important, the food pantry. I would like to extend the council's gratitude to the Jackson Board of Education for stepping up like they always do for our town, and to everyone involved. I think that this is something that we knew was needed, and I'm very thankful for it. And to our officers, may God bless you and protect you all. Congratulations to those that are being... I don't think I'm supposed to speak tonight.
It's okay.
A tornado warning.
I tell you, I invoked the Lord and boom.
Here, I'm gonna have to
Oh, we're all getting it.
Tornado.
Don't worry, guys. You guys are going to get sworn in.
I mean, I feel pretty safe in here, so I
Yeah.
think we could keep going.
I am not going to cancel the meeting. It's just a warning.
All right, so to
Continue.
to our officers, God bless you and may God protect you all and your family. And just to touch on the ordinance, 2025-25, this ordinance has been in the makings for a year, and I want to thank Council President Kuhn for pioneering this ordinance. I also want to thank Council Vice President, Mr. Bernstein, for also pioneering this with Council President Kuhn for over a year. From day one on this council, I made this a top priority, and I've been very proud to work alongside this council in supporting this ordinance. We all know illegal renting is a serious issue in Jackson, and this ordinance is a strong step forward, built to hold landlords accountable with real penalties, including steep fines and the possibility of having their certificate of occupancy revoked or denied altogether. And I just want to say, look, it's easy to make 2-minute videos on social media or make posts to criticize us from the sidelines, but it's much harder to actually do the work, sit down, collaborate, and deliver real solutions. And that's what we're doing here. And sometimes that takes time. And I'm proud to see this on the agenda, and I look forward to continuing to work with my colleagues to protect our town and neighborhood and keep Jackson safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Kuhn, anything else?
Yes, so we have DPW, our Department of Public Works, Mr. Belinsky, our supervisor is in the back row, so we're going to skip the update because he has a presentation coming up later on in the agenda. And then I would like to go into, at this time, I would like to take a moment to formally introduce and recognize our police department promotions. It is an honor to be here once again at a Township Council meeting to celebrate the promotions of 4 outstanding officers within our Jackson Township Police Department. These moments have become more frequent, and that's a good thing. They reflect real progress in strengthening and rebuilding our department, bridging the gaps that have existed and moving us towards a strong, more fully staffed force that our growing our community deserves. I know I speak for my fellow council members when I say thank you to our Public Safety Director, Director Candido, for his leadership and his continued efforts to guide this department forward. And most importantly, congratulations to Lieutenant Rife Jr., Lieutenant Rodriguez, Sergeant Gladys, and Sergeant Roth III. Your dedication, professionalism, and commitment to public safety do not go unnoticed. These promotions are not just a recognition of your past service. They're a vote of confidence in your leadership for the future. On behalf of the entire council, I want to thank you for your unwavering commitment to keeping the residents of Jackson safe and for the pride and integrity you bring to our police department each and every day. Congratulations again, and thank you for your service. I would like Director Candido to come up and start the swearing in, as well as our Madam Deputy Clerk is going to assist in the swearing in. I will provide the Bibles.
We're good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Candido. I'm the Public Safety Director. Chief Coons is to my left here. I'd like to thank the mayor and the administration and the council for these promotions tonight. They're backfilling, as well as we are finally in a position where our department is now staffed correctly, organizationally, in each division with the captain, lieutenant, and sergeants below. Every division is set up that way now. That hasn't happened, or we haven't had that in the 30 years I've been here. So, Sergeant, now Lieutenant Reef, you want to come on up? Lieutenant Robert Reef was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Rob moved to Jackson in 1968 and is a Jackson Memorial High School graduate, class of 1984. We got me too. Rob, is it coming? Rob attended both Lock Haven University and Ocean County College after high school. Rob began his career with the Jackson Township Police Department in December of 2001. Upon a successful completion from the Ocean County Police Academy, he was assigned to the Patrol Division, where he worked the day shift. In 2007, Lieutenant Reef was assigned to the Detective Bureau, where he remained until his promotion to Police Sergeant in January of 2023. Upon his promotion, he was assigned to oversee the Charlie 2 Squad. In September of 2024, he was then transferred to the Alpha Afternoons, where he remained until his recent promotion. During his career, Rob was a member of the Jackson Township Police Department Special Response Team, as well as a member of the Ocean County Regional SWAT Team from 2003 until 2011. Rob is also a current member of the Firearms Unit as a firearms instructor. During his tenure in patrol and with the Detective Bureau, Lieutenant Reef received the following accolades: Officer of the Year nominee in 2006 and 12, Detective of the Year in 2016, Command Citation in 2016, and 2 unit citations in 2011 and 2013. Upon his promotion, Lieutenant Reef has been assigned to the Investigation Services Division, where he will now be the Detective Lieutenant, back to where he had previously spent a majority of his career. He brings a great knowledge to this already outstanding unit, and they are very happy to have him back. Congratulations, Rob. On a private note, Rob and I spent our time on midnights as sergeants, and when he first came to us, his first call, and that's why we call him the Black Cloud sometimes, was a shooting, and it was a legit shooting that happened, because we get a lot of shots fired calls, and they're nothing, but this one was, and I was like, oh boy. So that was his first experience as a sergeant. It was fun. Lieutenant John Rodriguez. John was born and raised in Staten Island, New York, until he and his family moved to Jackson Township in 1997. John graduated from Jackson Memorial High School in 1999 and attended the College of New Jersey from 1999 to 2003, where he studied economics. In the summer of 2003, John attended the Ocean County Police Academy, where he graduated valedictorian. John continued his education and recently attained both an RN and a BSN degree, graduating with a 4.0 GPA. John proudly served the Township of Jackson as a patrolman for 9 years before achieving the position of detective. During that time, John maintained a secondary assignment to the Ocean County Regional SWAT Team from 2008 to 2011. As a detective, John specialized in sexual assault investigations and took great pride in being bringing such cases to a successful law enforcement conclusion. John is a recipient of the Excellent Police Duty Ribbon, Life-Saving Award, Good Conduct Ribbon, and 4 citations. During his tenure, John has also served as JPD's PBA president for 3 terms and has enjoyed giving back to the residents of Jackson through a variety of community events and fundraisers. Lieutenant Rodriguez was promoted to the rank of police sergeant in February of 2022. Upon his promotion, he was the Bravo Afternoons Platoon Patrol Sergeant before being transferred to Alpha Platoon in 2025. Currently, Lieutenant Rodriguez is the Superior Officers Union President. In his off-duty time, John enjoys nothing more than spending time running around and causing general mayhem with his 3 children, Sam, Sophie, and Valentina. John formerly volunteered as a waiter at the John Bon Jovi Soul Kitchen in Red Bank and also is a regular in a monthly garbage pickup on the streets of Red Bank. John has a soft spot for Corvettes, that is true, and restores classic cars as a hobby, currently working on a 1946 Chevy pickup that's all in 1 million pieces. Congratulations. John's also been a long-time friend of mine, and we've worked well together as union presidents, vice presidents, and I couldn't have done a lot of the things that we had gotten accomplished without him and his guidance as well. Thank you, John. And you want to call up your families for swearing in?
If the families want to come up at this time. Aw.
Sure. See how we're going to do this. See how we get through this. Got to be close with the Bible. All right.
I state your name.
I, Robert Reif Jr.,
I, John Rodriguez,
Do solemnly swear that I
Do-
will support the Constitution of the United States
do
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the government established in the state
and
and to the government established in the United States
and the state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the lieutenant
for
for the Township of Jackson according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Sergeant Ryan Gladys. Ryan graduated Jackson Memorial High School in 2010. A few years later, he attended the New Jersey Department of Corrections Academy in Seagirt in 2014 and worked in Trenton State Prison up until being hired at Jackson Police Department in September of 2018. Upon his hiring, Sergeant Gladys attended Ocean County Police Academy in October of 2018 and obtained the Top Shop Award for firearms. During his tenure with the agency, Sergeant Gladys was made a field training officer and as a result earned the award for Field Training Officer of the Year in 2024 after training 4 new police officers back-to-back, 2 of which were named Rookie of the Year. Ryan is also on the Special Response Team, where he serves as an entry team member as well as part of the sniper team. In addition, Ryan is a certified physical training instructor and a member of the Elite Bike Unit. Sergeant Gladys has recently received the agency's Life-Saving Award for performing life-saving measures on an unresponsive 9-month-old who was resuscitated and survived the incident. Sergeant Gladys also currently holds the position of Sergeant at Arms on the PBA Executive Board. Ryan is well respected and already acts as a leader amongst his peers while being held in high regard by his supervisors. He will no doubt be a successful supervisor. Outside of work, Ryan enjoys outdoor activities and spending time with his wife, Brielle, and children, Mikey, Benny, and Lily. Congratulations. Ryan's been here for how long now? 7 years. And I remember when he first got hired. And he has become a great addition to the police department. He is an excellent leader and well respected by everybody. And he's going to be a good addition to the supervisory corps. Sergeant John Roth. Sergeant John Roth grew up in Lacey Township. John graduated from Lacey High School in 2006, where he was a 4-year varsity wrestler and a 3-year varsity football player. Immediately after high school, John began his law enforcement career with the Seaside Heights Police Department as a Class 1 officer. In May 2007, he graduated from the Ocean County Police Academy, Basic Class 88, and continued serving as a Class 2 officer in Seaside Heights. In October 2007, John enlisted in the United States Marine Corps Reserves as a motor transport operator. He was deployed to Iraq in 2009 and further volunteered to extend his service with a deployment to Afghanistan. After completing his deployments in 2010, John returned to Seaside Heights, continuing his service as a Class 2 officer until 2012. In September of 2012, John was hired by the Ocean County Sheriff's Department and attended the Ocean County Police Academy for class number 95. From 2014 to 2016, he was assigned to the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office Narcotics Strike Force. John joined the Jackson Township Police Department in 2016, where he currently serves as a patrolman for the Alpha Day Shift. His service has been recognized with multiple awards, including the 2019 Kimberly Smith Ames DWI Prevention Award for Ocean County, the MAD DWI Award, and the Ocean County Mental Health Advocate Award for the Ocean County Department of Human Services. In addition to his patrol duties, Officer Roth is actively involved in a range of specialized programs and initiatives. He's a member of the department's Special Response Team, the department's FTO program, participates in the Ocean County Crisis Intervention Training, the Police Resiliency Program, and the Veterans Diversion Program through the Prosecutor's Office. He also serves as a defensive tactics instructor at both the Ocean County Police Academy and within the Jackson Police Department. Upon his promotion, John is highly respected amongst his peers and no doubt will be a successful supervisor. Outside of his professional life, John is happily married to his wife of 6 years, Jamie, and a proud father to their 4-year-old daughter, Emerson Ray. He enjoys spending time with family and friends, going to the beach, reading, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and listening to podcasts. Congratulations. John's also one of those people that everybody turns to. He holds everything in confidentiality. He is a great resource for when we have stressful calls. People come to him and talk to him. I admire him for all the work he does with CIT and the veterans, and he will be another great addition to the supervisory staff here. Congratulations.
If the families want to come up. This is her big moment.
I state your name.
I, John
Ryan
Hall,
Gladys.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
and the governments established within the state and the United States,
under the authority of the people, and I
Um,
will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will,
Do it a little less, a little less.
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
I will
and I will
faithfully,
faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties as sergeant
perform all the duties as sergeant
for the Township of Jackson according to the best of my ability.
for the Township of Jackson according to my ability. So help me God.
So, we're going to come down and take pictures with them. Council? Picture?
Thank you. Yep, perfect. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Outstanding, thank you very much.
Be nice, I did.
Council President, could we take, Council President, 3 minutes? Jen, 5 minutes?
Everyone, we're going to take a 5-minute break for the police, and then anybody that would like to leave, we will not be offended. We're going to start the meeting again in 5 minutes. Christian, do you want to put a clock up there? Thank you, sir.
Hey, what's up? I don't know where he went.
All right, Christian, you are up. So
I am.
you can't close the door. No, you can't. It has to be open session. It has to be open to the public. Thank you all. We're back into session. I apologize for the outside. Hopefully they move down a little bit.
We were told no.
We were told to not allowed to. Oh, yeah. No, I'll
For now, let's leave it open.
we'll keep it open. All right, so we're going to keep the door open. We now have a presentation on our SDL platform by our very own IT department head, Christian David. While he does that, I'm just going to kind of push them down. Go
Good
ahead.
evening. All right, we're going to talk about the SDL portal for tonight. Up on the screen is the direct URL for it. And on our website, the main page, there will be several ways to get to it. There's a search button, search box that you can type in SDL portal. And it will bring you to my bad. Do that again.
Whoa.
All right. Obviously, the,
Christian, while you're going through that, can I ask a couple questions?
hold on. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so why don't we just that way? So in essence, if I have a problem as we're going into this ordinance with a neighbor and I think it's a rental and I think maybe it's not, the landlord's not registered. Am I going to be able to go on this portal, put in the address as a resident and look up, or if there's construction going on, am I able to pull up this portal and see if they have their permits into the township, into each department? So in essence, the building department, zoning, code enforcement.
At the moment, the property maintenance is not up.
The property maintenance, what do you mean?
With the for the code enforcement for landlord registrations.
For landlord registration?
Yeah, it's not up yet.
Okay, when do we anticipate that to be up?
Hopefully next month.
Okay, thank you, sir. So in essence, what I'm asking is a lot of questions that we get is concerns about properties that are, not being maintained. Are there landlords there? Are there tenants there? So we get the emails in, and when I get them, I know we forward them to code enforcement. But a lot of people ask the questions, and there's a lot of Oprahs. So we get, I don't know, we're up to like how many? 800?
Over 1,000.
Okay, we're over 1,000 Oprahs. So a lot of this is to try to get, everybody wants instant, answers right away. So this portal will allow you to go put in an address and see if the property that you're concerned about, if they did pull their permits, what permits they pulled. So we want to just make sure for transparency to let you guys know that this information is out there. The clerks can do it for you, but you also can do it for yourself. So if you have concerns or anything like that, we're just showing you how you can utilize it, and it's free. So I have the app on my phone. I have two of them. I have the Township, and I have it. Obviously, it's known I have a real estate broker's license. This is how I do my due diligence when I go to a home, to make sure when they had to have their what permits they pulled, what permits they didn't. Because I'm sorry, but not everybody is very transparent, and they might say, "Oh no, we got permits for everything," and next thing you know, there's no permits done, and you have to start the process at the end of the day. So it is very, very great information that everybody can use, and will answer a lot of questions. And then if you find something, you can email us. You're more than happy to email me. I check my emails all day, and I'll forward it to code, or you can send it directly to code. But if you send it right to code, I would ask that you CC the business administrator or myself or anybody on council, and we'd be more than happy to make sure that your questions get answered. Christian, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Not a problem. All right, on the portal, you have to create an account to get to this screen right here. Also, when you search, do not hit the permit unless you know the permit number. So we're just going to search 95. All right. On this portal, you can see the pictures of the property, and they hide the name of the owner for privacy purposes, the assessed value of the property, and underneath that, they will have construction applications. And if you're nosy enough to want to know what's going on that permit, you can click on it, and it will give you all the details. Well, obviously not on this one. Details what they did on the permit. And also they have inspections. If they failed, they pass. And ongoing applications. And if they have violations, zoning applications is here as well. And soon the property maintenance will be here, hopefully. That's basically it. We also have, I'm sorry, we also have an application for Android phones or Android tablets. It can be downloaded from our website. And on people that are using iPhones or any iPad, you can download it from the Apple App Store.
Good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So anybody has any additional questions or you can't find the app, email me. I actually have it saved on my computer because I've gotten multiple people that have called me and asked for it.
Council
So
President,
any questions?
if I could just ask a quick
Yeah,
question.
absolutely.
Just to better understand, I think it's just for the public. So the town, I think, under the previous business administrator purchased the SDL program. Do we know what year we purchased the program?
I don't, I think I've been
Christian,
using
do you
it.
know?
Say that again.
What year
what
did
year
did
we
we
got
purchase the
SDL?
program?
We got it 3 years ago.
Okay, so
ago, yeah.
there's 3 years ago, and it's an ongoing, I think, effort, from what I understand, getting each department to understand the system, to figure out how to upload the information. I think one of the goals that we're hoping that with this is it will cut back on some of the need for some of the Oprahs, because people all the time are constantly doing Oprahs and making requests for wanting to know if their neighbor or anything. So this should cut back on the Oprahs.
Even so, it keeps the residents informed about what's going on in their neighborhood. You want to know what's going on. We all want to know.
I think by one of our council meetings recently, I don't remember, it might have been Mr. Palmieri brought up a property, or it might have been by one of our meetings in the back, about a property that we just were concerned if there were permits pulled off.
That was when the story I had told
Yeah.
in Oakley Hill. They were concerned because their neighbor took the house 3 lots down and brought it down the street and attached it to the other house right there. And they said there's no way in any way that there's permits or anything done. And I went on SDL, I picked up my phone and I said, it was approved, it's got permits. It may not be pretty, but it got permits. So
Okay.
that was the end of that.
And
It's-
Council President, if anyone has any questions, could they reach out to IT?
No.
They should reach out directly,
I would say reach out to the administration or reach out to council. I don't want to,
and we'll forward it to the
and
right
we'll forward
directions.
it and get your answers.
Okay,
I mean, you can email them, I'm sure, but I wouldn't call him.
Right.
He might,
right.
he
Okay.
might not be happy
Thank
about
you.
that because it's very, very easy. It's a very, it's a friendly using, type in any address and it pops up. Tom's River uses it. We have it. We're not the only town. It's very user friendly. I don't think anybody will have, you don't need to know lots. You don't need to know blocks. You just need to know how to spell the street address and it'll pop right up.
Okay, thank you.
Council President?
Yes, sir.
If-
Yes, Councilman.
I guess like if any neighbor or resident has a concern.
Mike.
Oh, jeez. Oh, if any resident has a concern of maybe illegal activity going on or.
Well, it's not going to.
Or safety concerns for a structure.
No.
Even though-
So let's get back. It's a permit process and it's the DNA of the house. It's what's going on with the house. So if you have a neighbor that's putting up an addition, okay, you could go on this app and you can see from the building department, did they get their electric? Did they get their plumbing? Did they do all this? Did they pass? Did they fail? Is it getting rescheduled? It's not to say, you're not going to go, you can't put a violation on a house
Right,
on
but is there a number they can contact?
So code enforcement, that's what code enforcement's job is to do, is to go ahead. Now, what's supposed to be happening, and I'm not picking on code enforcement. Please do not take that. I'm saying what they could do is they all have iPads. They can go to the properties if they get a violation. They can do everything from their iPad. They can take the pictures, they can upload it on SDL, and you as a neighbor can know and know that your thing is being addressed. The violation goes on there. They have 10 days to do what's called abate, which means correct the issue. If they don't, they're supposed to get a summons, and you should be able to see all of this on this website. So then you will know. You will be an informed neighbor, and you can say, you know what? At least my answer, my question, and my concern has been addressed, and you can feel. And then the people know that they're being held accountable. That's the problem. Is there's no accountability. So when something happens and you come out and we get a concern, if you don't get followed up with, people get upset and they're like, nobody cares. And I hear it. I try to answer every single email, and I know this council right here cares, and we are trying to answer everything. And we're trying to address it. But you know what? We're late. It's only 3 years, and it really needs to be utilized to the fullest. So that's why we're having these presentations, and that's why we're here tonight, and that's why these questions, and that's why the BA, and I did that announcement this morning, because administration and council is working together to get this up and running and to answer everybody's questions pertaining to what's going on in your neighborhoods. I hope that answered you. Thank you. And just to add, our BA is very familiar with SDL, correct? Familiar. We're all going to be, we're going to no ends. Anything else, Councilman?
No, that's it.
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, so much. We appreciate it. We'll have you back next meeting. Okay, so next up is we have council questions and answer session with Sean Belinsky. He is our supervisor of Department of Public Works. Sean, if you could please come up.
How you guys doing? Hello.
Hello. Good.
How you doing? Yep.
All right.
All right. So I'm Sean Belinsky, Assistant Supervisor of Public Works. I stand before you not only as a representative of our hardworking municipal team, but also a concerned member of this community who wants to see our township continue to thrive. As many of you know, our town has grown significantly over the past few years with new neighbors, expanded roads, more parks, and increased public use in every corner of our shared space. With that growth becomes a greater responsibility to ensure the town remains clean, safe, and functional for every resident year-round. However, the reality we are currently facing is that our staffing levels have not kept pace with the town's expansion. The number of employees responsible for scheduled leaf, bulk, and brush collections, maintaining roads, caring for our township's parks, and responding to residents' concern has remained largely the same, despite the increasing demand. Every day presents a challenge, as I try to balance scheduled vacations and sick callouts within our team. Do we prioritize fixing potholes, clearing storm drains? Can we mow all the township basins, or will one have to wait till next week? This is not due to lack of dedication. Our crews work tirelessly, but dedication alone cannot overcome the overwhelming workload. This situation not only affects the appearance and livability in our town, it also poses long-term risks. Delayed maintenance leads to more costly repairs. Overworked staff are more prone to injury, burnout, and errors. Most importantly, the quality of services our residents expect and deserve begins to erode. I'm requesting from administration and council and authorizing the hire of additional employees. This is not an ask for luxury. It's a request rooted in necessity and a vision for a better managed team. Hiring more staff will allow us to respond more quickly to public needs, maintain higher standards across our township, and preserve the assets we've invested in long term. Our commitment to safety and service remains strong. We owe it to our residents to ensure that our staffing levels align with the growth of the town.
Thank you, Mr. Belinsky. I just want to I had a little opening statement. I just want to say, Mr. Belinsky, as a supervisor of Department of Public Works, we are grateful for the dedication that Mr. Belinsky and his team bring to their work, not only in the maintaining of our public infrastructure, but also in overseeing the Recreation Department and the Senior Center. As we enter the question and answer portion of this meeting, the council will be addressing various aspects of the day-to-day operations within the Department of Public Works. Mr. Belinsky, as he's just provided what kind of is his day-to-day operations, the council asked him to come in, and he graciously did, as we've been doing with a lot of the departments, kind of getting a Q&A, and it's just to kind of see what they're doing in the day-to-day and to see if council can has any questions. I've prepared mine. But I don't know if anybody has any. I don't want to,
I have a question.
You have questions? Okay, so
Go ahead.
we want to just go down, we'll go down the row?
How you doing? I had many, many, many years involved with Public Works and understand it totally and respect it all. I know many of the guys there. No problem with that. I have a question, and I probably agree with you with the level of employees you need or are short of, whichever way you want to put it. If you were to get more employees, how are we matched up with equipment? Do you have enough equipment? Is the equipment sitting idle now because you don't have enough employees? What would be the balance if you get more employees?
Equipment-wise, has been getting better the past couple of years. Administration has been approving multiple capital requests over the past 2 years. There's always room for more additions. Right now, there is some equipment that sits stagnant because in order to stay on track with our scheduled bulk and leaf collections, I can't. Like right now, it takes between 12, sometimes 15, 5 crews to keep up with the bulk. I can't cut grass. I can't run street sweepers. I can't run a jetback crew. We don't have the employees.
So you have the equipment, and if you had more employees, you can diversify them to other jobs.
Correct.
I have one other question, just out of curiosity. I know we're sitting out here in almost 100 degrees today, but I'm just curious. Do you still have the brine tanks for the winter that are ready to go? Are we still using the brine?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Belinsky, you mentioned needing additional employees. What would that number look like? How many do you feel you need to properly staff your department?
10 at a minimum would be a good start.
How many do you need? I mean, this is why you're here. So we want to, we have the
Right
new
now,
BA,
the
the new
equipment that I
BA.
have, if I had another 20 guys, we could, do a lot better.
Okay.
A lot better.
So 10 would be your low number, 20 would be your optimal?
Correct. And that's across streets and roads and buildings and grounds. We could bring back cutting our own grass. We wouldn't have to outsource.
Talking to the mic, because I don't think you're so tall.
The more employees we have for streets and roads and buildings and grounds, we could eliminate outsourcing a lot of this work that we should be doing in-house, in my
Such
opinion.
as grass, you had said.
Yep. And then in the wintertime, we cut back on contracted snow work. It would, save us money in the long run. I'd have these guys all year round.
So just to hit snow a little bit, do you recall, I know I do, but I just want to know, recall the amount of money that we spent for 4 inches of snow last year?
I'd have to look back.
I could tell you it was
see what we spent,
$500,000.
but it's a costly
It's a
job.
very costly, $500,000. Yes, I did say that. Yes. For outsourcing.
And what we use compared to neighboring towns is minimal,
Okay.
very minimal.
Council.
Yeah.
So first of all, just a big thank you. I know your dedication. I think on July 4th, there was an emergency on one of the roads. You were out there. The residents were shocked. I got multiple emails, so thank you very much. We appreciate that. I know there was a flood, I think it was on Brookwood Parkway last Sunday, I think, or 2 Sundays ago it might have been, where a car got stuck, and the PD and the fire department were out there, and you immediately sent out your team, so we appreciate that. I was just going to jump into snow for a second. I know it's a conversation I had with the former business administrator, and I think it will be an ongoing conversation. Do you have the numbers? I don't need them for today, but if you can, over the next couple of days, maybe get it to us. I know you did some data in comparison to some of our neighboring towns of how many men and women we had on the roads in-house, how many we had outsourced during a snowstorm in comparison to some of our neighboring towns. So we could just, and obviously every town is different, but to better understand, sometimes you travel on county roads, sometimes they're clean, sometimes they're not, and just a better understanding of what current staffing we have. And then, so if we can get some of that data, I think it'd be important.
No problem.
And then part of that question also is if we could just, how many members are part of the whole DPW team right
I
now?
have 25 streets and roads employees, 6 mechanics, and 14 buildings and grounds employees.
Okay.
That's including nighttime cleaners during the daytime. That streets and roads employees also includes the people that are designated to the compost site and the transfer station. So on a given day, I have maybe around 19 guys,
Okay, so
men and women, to do what we got to do.
I know I used to have this conversation with Councilman Sargent, and I hear Mr. Bresci on the side over here. What was the highest Jackson ever had? Are we lower than we used to be?
Yes, significantly.
How many roles do you cover right now?
We had more employees when I started 19 years ago than we do now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay.
I couldn't get you. I can probably look it up, talk to some old.
Okay, and I guess part of my question also is knowing our roads and knowing some of our infrastructure here in Jackson. If we could also have, similar to I asked about snow in comparison to some of the other towns.
Oh yeah, I'll get you the data this week. I
Perfect.
Speak to multiple.
And I think the conversation I've had with the mayor multiple times, and I think mayor and council are in an agreement, is we do need a 5-year plan. Our town is growing, and we need to really develop a 5-year. We're not going to get everything overnight. I wish we could. We don't have a blank checkbook, but I think it's important to start developing the 5-year plan. Making sure.
I'm gonna outgrow the property, our facility. The building that we built years ago, just a capital request from last year and the year before. I'm already running out of space. We're going to outgrow that facility 100%. Even with the cops and the PD, our mechanics servicing the PD fleet, they have more vehicles and, it's a lot for a little shop.
For your shop that you're in now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I just have a couple things. I have an invoice here, I believe was from Bulk. And it was for last month alone, $46,980.35.
Yeah, it's almost double. We're toward the end of our bulk collection. We went through zone 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We're into zone 2 and 1 now, just wrapping up. We have a few more senior private communities to take care of next week, but it was significantly higher. That cost is also the transfer station dumping fees as well, but the bulk has been an issue the past 2 zones.
So my thing is can we maybe when you sit with the BA, can we look at a plan to kind of get these? My thing is with the fees, with $500,000 in for 4 inches of snow, you're saying we have $100,000 for bulk. You have your 20 less on employees. I'm saying if we can hire more employees and we can hire more equipment and we can do more in-house, I think the longevity and the long run, we will save a lot of money. And it's a 5-year plan.
The bulk collections is out of control right now, especially we're going into zone 1. We're just finishing up. It's,
Okay.
I share pictures with everybody.
I know.
Something, and then my guys, we're putting tags out. We're trying to notify the residents, but we can't really spend all day explaining to every person because, to keep on schedule, we got to keep moving. So we have door hangers. They fill out the reason the pile was left behind. The residents can bring it to the transfer station themselves. They could, but it's not meant for house clean outs, renovations, none of that stuff.
It's not
if you want to get rid of
bulk.
some furniture, it's one thing, but we're running into piles of, that could fill a 20-yard dumpster.
No, I've seen it. Okay, so that's something that was definitely concerning. And then once you put those tags out, what does it do? It goes to code enforcement too?
So I compile a list we'll give the residents, I try to give them like a week to clean it up. Some residents don't have the means to, so it was sitting around for a little while, but we put out 55 tagged violations in zone 2.
Okay.
And this is 2 weeks later, and there's probably only like 4 piles left. So
4
the
piles left? Oh,
yeah,
so
the
it's
residents
working.
found a way to
Get rid of it?
Yeah.
They went to Don Connor and threw it out?
but 46 or 49,000 for
Yeah.
1 month for bulk
Is a
collection.
month. That's what was my concern. With the recent developments of new parks around town, we're putting a lot of money into parks and recreations. I'm just going to use Wood Lane Park for an example. We just put pickleball out there. We just put a brand new park. Before the locks were even open, it was vandalized.
Yep.
I know that I worked with the Jackson Police Department Director Candido, and the officer that he had put out there. It's my neighborhood, so I went and asked people to look at their Ring cameras, and they did find somebody. I don't know if they caught him. I don't know the thing, but the thing is, we're putting a lot of money, and we have a recreation committee. One of our members is here now, and we're planning on going and rejuvenating a lot of these parks, Camp Joy, the 527 on West Veterans. Before we go and we're spending all this open space money and we're doing this, what is the plan to stop the vandalism? I mean, this was it wasn't even a day, and there's dirt bikes and quads through the $120,000 pickleball court. Like what? And that falls under your purview to
Yes.
protect.
Yep. So we're going to get cameras. The same thing we did at the Justice Complex. We had problems there the past 2 years with the bathrooms getting vandalized. We installed cameras last year, and it's knocked it down. We might have only had 2 or 3 instances since last year.
Okay.
So we met with IT and a camera company out there 2 weeks ago. We're just waiting on proposal for camera installation. Anywhere we're going to be doing these large park improvements, we're going to try to get eyes on. It'll be connected right to PD.
To PD. That's
Yeah,
what my question.
We urge any residents that witness this to call Jackson Police Department right away, and let them do their part.
And submit if anybody has, we don't want vandalism. We don't want to spend this money and do that. Thank you so much. So my next question, there has been discussions around the food pantry being removed from your building, particularly concerning that there was a rat infestation issue. Can you clarify if you have any previous if you alerted the former business administrators about this issue? And how it is reflected on the suitable, how your building's doing after this, please.
So regarding the food pantry and the building issues, the food pantry's relocation from our building was a complicated situation. We could not treat the rat infestation properly until all the food was removed from the building. I communicated these concerns with administration to ensure they were promptly addressed. This building is not suited for such purpose. The pantry has been moved to a better equipped facility to support its cause without compromising the health and safety of all involved. Just to sum it up, that building was built in 1960 with all the food in there. They found their way. We couldn't properly treat the rats until we removed the food.
And it's
So,
been corrected?
It's all been corrected. They're
No
working
more
with the school.
rats running around?
No
Okay.
more rats. We had a company
I mean,
come in.
I had a girl, she's like, I'm eating lunch and there's a rat running over my head. I'm like,
We had a company come in,
God
they
bless you.
removed all the walls, we took all the
Yes.
insulation, they cleaned,
So we're good.
yeah, they're all gone.
All right. I have one more question and then I will not keep you any longer. As the town continues to grow, so Councilman Bernstein went into the 5-year plan. That is really what we're at. We're with our new BA. He really seemed engaged in the department heads. I've heard great things about the meetings that are going on with the department heads. The 5-year plan, what's the 5-year plan for the public works to accommodate the growth that we're experiencing? And what can this council do to help you support and implement your plan?
All right, so our 5-year plan for DPW, as our town continues to grow, my plan includes not only addressing infrastructure needs, but our overall service capacity. This includes investing in staff training, upgrading equipment, and improving technology systems to streamline operations. I believe that the council can assist by advocating for the appropriate funding and resources, facilitating community involvement in the planning process, and helping to prioritize projects based on the community's needs.
Okay. So we will do that. And I guess the 20 employees would be the first step in doing that,
It's
correct?
going to come down to staff.
It's going to come down to staff. I think that's what it is.
The equipment has been being replaced the past couple of years and just needs some more people.
So if you have 20, let's just say 20 people walk through, 20 people from this room say, you know what, Mr. Valinsky, you're awesome. I want to come work with you. You get 20 employees. Well, what's it going to cost the town for vehicles? Do they have vehicles? Do they have staffing? Do they have a place to go? You have a spot for them.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay. I don't want to hold you to it. That's all I have. I don't know
We
if
got
anybody.
plenty of work around town. You know, it's a large town. There's.
Well, it's
everybody look, there's
104. I was
something
going to
do.
get into that, where it's a 104-mile town, and we have, core services that we really would like to
Yeah,
bring to
I mean,
town
if you
next 5
compare
years.
us to neighboring towns, we're minimal.
Yeah.
If you compare our contracted snow help, we're not even, they double us with just DPW employees.
Okay.
And they also subcontract, like you wouldn't believe. It's a thing we have to do because, our guys can only work so long.
No, I know.
The town, it takes a while to clean the town, even 3 inches of snow.
Okay.
Mr. Belinsky,
Counselor?
thanks for being here tonight.
No problem.
Answering your question. Oh, geez. Yeah, it's on.
You can't hear you.
Thank you for being here tonight and answering our questions and all that. The 20, I guess that's the number that you had mentioned. Is that 20 full-time or is some of the 20 seasonal?
No, full-time,
It would be full-time positions.
full-time employees.
And I know, like Councilman Vice President Bernstein mentioned, the 5-year plan, the 20, where would they be doing? Like, what kind of work would they be doing? Is that something that would be,
Everywhere you look, there's something to do.
Yeah, there's always, okay.
We should be doing a lot more than what we are doing. Right now we're getting by. I'm staying on track where we need to be, but we could improve on all aspects of.
Well, I just want to commend you for staying on track with being understaffed by 20 employees. No,
thanks.
seriously. I mean, and it is. You do see, he's new department head, and we do get a lot of positive feedback regarding your department. So thank you, Councilman.
On the 5-year plan, and you're talking 20 people, I want to make sure we see in there what you need to get them trained and up to staff with the proper licenses and stuff have to accompany that. You
Yeah,
get
so we
20
have,
people that can't do certain things because they don't have the license for
100%.
that. We
and
have to get that too.
That's great. A great point. We have an in-house CDL trainer. We had a handful of new hires over the past 2 years that just recently obtained their CDLs. We train in-house. He's, I think he's 6 for 6 with the people he's trained. So,
Okay.
we got to train them. That's
You
comes with
put
the
20
job.
in there that can't get the training, then you kind of blowing the
We
wind
got
there.
we got plenty of seasoned guys that can train them. Don't worry.
If I could just ask one more
Absolutely.
question quickly. I had this conversation, I think it was with the mayor about 6 months ago, pertaining to, it's great hiring employees, but we want to retain the employees. Part of, I guess, just getting a better picture, is our pay comparable to other DPWs in surrounding towns?
It's gotten better to pass contract that the TWU guys just settled, but that's something I'd have to look into and get back to you.
Because obviously it's great to hire 20, but if they're going to hire them, train them, and 6 months later they're out.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Nothing
All right,
else.
thank you.
Thank you. If you'd like to stay, you can go, whatever you like to do. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is our ordinances. First reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-24, amending and supplementing Chapter 103 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Article 14, Schedules. Council President Kuhn, are there any comments on ordinance 2025-24?
Yes, ma'am. So this ordinance is for no parking, standing, stopping or standing in order to add the following roadway, Schedule A, Pitney Lane, which shall be located at the west side from the southerly curb line of South Cooksbridge Road to the point of 980 feet, so south thereof. So no parking on one side of the road.
Any other questions by Township Council?
It's just first reading.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-24 on reading and introduction to authorize the notice of the public hearing to be held on July 22nd, 2025?
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Councilman Bretzi?
Yes,
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes, and just a quick thank you to everyone involved, because I know that part of the process that was necessary before the school year begins was to get the work done. We can't get the work done if we don't have the no parking ordinance in place. So yes.
Great. And Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Next item of business is first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-25, amending Chapter 245, Landlord Registration and Responsibility, Article 1, Landlord Registration. Council President Kuhn, any comments on ordinance 2025-25?
Yes, I already read the amendments in there. I just wanted to add a couple more statements. So this ordinance, it is not going to be under the code enforcement. I want to make sure that that's clear. That was said at the last council meeting, and I 100% meant it. So we created a name. It's going to be the Bureau of Rental Housing Inspections, and there's going to be a rental housing coordinator. So there's going to be 2 coordinators. They're going to have 1 admin. And the best thing about this is it's self-funded by the landlords. The taxpayers are not paying for this. So what it is, we're raising it $100. That $100 is going to go to its own line, to its own department. With 3,000 rentals, we'll have $300,000. Figure you make $70,000 each not code enforcement. I got to get that word out of my mouth. Each of these coordinators, they'll have, their own vehicles paid by the landlords. They can go and they can do their job, and this is going to be their sole job. So you have a pool that you think is being illegally done, you have any property you think that's illegally rented, this will be their sole job. In order to set it up, as you had heard in the introduction with SDL, we have to get this department, we have to get them trained, as Mr. Belinsky said, even with his people, and get them ready to go to work. And this is all they're going to do. So we are super excited. I know everybody says I've been working on this for a year. I've been working on this for a year and a half. It started with the traffic ordinance that we did with the no parking at the stop signs. Then it started with the changing of the landlord registration. Yes, I've changed it 4 times because you have to update it as the town is growing. This is something that I met with our judge, and I asked him, because I was told, and I'm just going to be honest with you, code enforcement told me I'll never get this done. You're not going to be able to do it. And I have the emails and I've had the rejections that I've gotten from administration. And I said, I will get it done. I will work with my council. My council will support me. And a year and a half later, it's here. I'm super proud of it. I think it's the second, if not the best ordinance that I've been involved with since I've been on council. And it's 5 years late, but at least it's here now. And I'm glad that the council is so supportive of it. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-25 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of the public hearing to be held on July 22nd, 2025?
Motion?
Second?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressi?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes, and again, I just really want to thank all my colleagues. I really want to thank a lot of residents throughout all parts of Jackson for reaching out over the past, I would say, 9 months to almost a year about some of these issues. We see it. I see it in my neighborhood, and I think that really the beauty of this ordinance is that these men and women who ever get hired by this department, this is their only job. So there's not going to be focusing on other issues in town. So when this is really their only job and they have a quota, I'm just going to say, let's say there's 3,000 houses and it gets divided into a monthly rotation, and they're going to be expected, their job is to get to 25 or 15, whatever that number is a day. This is what they're going to be doing. And obviously they're going to have the quasi police powers of a code officer to be able to write the summons if the house is being utilized by more than one family, when you're not allowed to be used by more than one family. So I support this. I'm very happy. And I've already gotten messages on my phone asking for surrounding towns how they can copy this. So kudos to everyone here. And yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes, I just wanted to add to that. I want everybody to look at it, because you will see everybody's got in here, there's red lines on it. So I went over the weekend and I actually did the monthly inspection schedule for the team that's coming in. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts of when your property is going to get scheduled. So it really is laid out very nicely. And I thank you all. And yes, I obviously support it.
Motion approved. Next item of business is the payment and authorization of bills and claims. I'd like to note the following abstentions. Abstentions include Councilman Borelli, AET01, DEL01, NJS 13, STA 76, and TRE 35. Also, Council President Kuhn, RCS 02. Are there any questions or comments by Township Council?
Yes, I have a comment regarding a payment that was submitted. I'm just going to say the chief of police had submitted a payment pertaining to $108, and I was going to pull it off and I was going to reject it because it was for a toll in Delaware. $4 to go there, $4 to come back, but we were charged. He put in for $108 reimbursement. Director Candido, if you could just come up and explain. This is just another part of why we have the Director Candido the public safety director, he put in for $108. And I know it's $108 and this and that, but still, it's $108 that the township didn't need to pay. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I received those penalties and I looked into it and I called Delaware and I called our Easy Pass in New Jersey. Long and short of the story is we have an account. All our vehicles are registered through that account. The problem was the chief let that account go to zero. So once it went to zero, they no longer billed us and then we got hit with the penalty. When we go out of state, in state, we don't get charged. Our vehicles going through the tolls. Once we go out of state, or actually the AC Expressway charges us too. I don't know why. But when we go out of state, we get charged. But if there's no money in the account, then it goes automatic penalty. I gave those bills to him to deal with and rectify. But I took over the Easy Pass account.
So it won't happen in the future.
Correct.
I did question it, and the response I got back was I tried to fight the administration fees. So I'm just going to say, I had this once. I mean, back when Easy Pass started, I couldn't find my Easy Pass in my car or whatever, so I got an administration. I went through. I called them. They waived the fee. Like it was like, oh, I couldn't get out. His is being denied, so I'm taking it to habitual offender kind of thing. Because if you keep doing something, eventually they're going to say.
It's not the first time my understanding that this has happened.
But you've taken it over, so we're gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm just
Currently, there's $468 in the account.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's all. I just wanted to bring that to light. Yes to everything else.
May I have a motion to approve the bills and claims with the abstentions noted?
Motion.
Motion.
Councilman Borelli?
Abstaining on those bill vendor numbers you mentioned. Yes to the rest on there for
Thank
bills
you.
and claims.
Councilman Bressi?
Yes.
Councilman Paul Mary?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Great, motion approved. All right. Council President, any comments on the consent agenda?
No, ma'am.
All righty. Next item on the agenda is consent agenda. Listed for tonight's consideration are resolutions 235 through 247, 2025, listed by title. Any questions or comments by Township Council?
No, ma'am.
Okay. May I have a motion to authorize the consent agenda, resolutions 235 through 247, 2025?
Do we want to, Council President, if I can interrupt for a second, do we want to ask anyone from the public wants to come up to remove anything?
Oh,
Aye.
is that what I'm saying?
Yes.
Hi. Sorry, this is new. We were supposed to be doing it for 100 years, but we never
I saw you
did
shaking
it.
your head over there. Thank
So
you.
would anybody like anything removed and us to discuss from the consent agenda? If you would, please let me know now, and we will start talking about it. Good?
Okay.
Aye? Thank you, sir. Thank you for reminding me. I'm so happy. I want to be in
I
compliance.
saw him shaking his head over there. Thank you.
So may I have a motion to authorize consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressi? Yes. Councilman Paul Mary?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Motion approved. At this time, if any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Motion to open?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
No.
Just come up to the mic
Yeah,
first.
come up to the mic and just say your name and your address, please.
Absolutely. My name is Adam Heidi. I live in Jackson, New Jersey. I grew up here my whole entire life, and I'm just speaking up on behalf of all the wildlife in town. Could you guys all look at me while I'm speaking, please? Thank you. I'm a professional molecular scientist. I work in the research and development industry for the last 5 or 6 years professionally, more or less a biologist. So I'm speaking from a biological standpoint. Do any of you guys know about the history of our town and the ecological preservation that took place back in the 16, 17, 1800s? Can any of you guys name a single endangered species that's home to New Jersey, let alone Jackson?
I know the snakes in the Pinelands.
Close, yes, a snake, but even those red-headed woodpeckers.
Owls.
Oh, yeah.
A little more specific, brother, but yeah, there's a myriad of species home native to our town that are endangered. concerned, threatened, and also federally protected. So just a reminder, so we could save our taxpayers money, and we don't want to be sued, but there are federal environmental laws that mandate we do proper screenings, ecological assessments when we go and develop. What kind of animals or plant species are in this habitat? This waste management facility you guys are getting ready to create, did we hire the change to the waste? Do we not have a plan to build a water management facility? 245 dash, am I speaking out of my behind?
Are you talking about the ordinance for the water? The two?
That's just one example. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Just all of these approved developments. Is there a biological process where we go and assess and survey the land to make sure? Because legally we have to, right? It's granted it's hired by a private company, right? But where are these ecological impact assessment reports and
The two
aren't they?
lots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and shouldn't they be? They should be presented to the public before these, right? I just want to make sure our town is doing the proper environmental things. Okay, I'm generally concerned. Number two, this is something that you guys can directly do, especially you, Ms. Kuhn. You have the power. Just speed bumps, more lights, more signs. I don't care how much it impact. If you've noticed the traffic on all around town, we could afford another 5 seconds.
Stop the clock real quick, please, Christian. Can you stop his clock? All right. So I'm just going to stop and I'm going to talk and then I'm going to start again because I hear you.
Thank you.
The speed bumps, it's not that easy. So every time we get requests for speed bumps, automatically we send it to traffic safety and we send it to the engineer, the township engineer. The township engineer evaluates it and he tells us whether we can or we can't. So it's a lot of the places the township, he tells us we can't do it.
Okay.
So it's not that we're not looking into it. And if you have any
Is there an
concern-
alternative? I absolutely understand. you.
we're working on an alternative. I believe on Pitney, they're doing.
So
Go ahead,
if I could just
Councilman.
answer, so I think every single road, it depends on what the specific issues are. We just authorized, we're doing speed calming measures on Pitney Lane. We're striping the road.
There's
So-
nothing on Pitney Lane except residences. I'm speaking about places like Frank Applegate. I'm speaking about places like
All right,
Bennett
start
Mills
the clock
Road.
again. Sorry, let me just
I'm
start the
speaking
clock
about places where we have wildlife refuges, right? Like Lake Eno, huge wildlife refuge, the
Yeah.
Butterfly Bog, just these places where there's a million obliterated deer, goose, swans. Like, have you not looked around our town and just seen dead animals everywhere? As a biologist, that literally breaks my fucking heart. It literally does. And you guys just keep approving shit.
We're council. We're not the planning board or the zoning board.
Fine, but we can all, you hear me, right?
Yeah, I do.
And,
I hear
and
you.
maybe this is my fault too, because like I've been a resident here my whole life and I probably should have been stepping up a little sooner. But now you hear me and you're going to see me every 2 weeks and I'm going to
Okay.
talk about the same thing.
Okay.
And it's
I
only
welcome
about
it.
our environment. And this has nothing to do with race, religion,
No.
color. It has nothing to do with anything.
I don't think
It's
it is.
just about our wildlife. That sound cool?
Thank you, sir. I look
Awesome.
forward to it. And
Thank you so much.
I'm coming up early tonight. Jim Seleckia, Jackson. Last week, I guess the last meeting, we talked about the budget not being out for the people. Tonight, I'm going to be a little bit more specific in regards to the taxes. I believe at the last meeting, you said it was okay for them to send out estimated tax bills to the people. I don't think we've gotten them yet,
they did. I got an email and I sent it to the tax collector and she answered the question.
but they have been posted online, so on the website. So I've been doing some research. As you guys know, I like to do my research before I come here. Some of the things that just caught my eye is I looked at my home and I saw my taxes are going up for August 1st is going up almost $500. When in November, I received from the planner that did the assessment values, it said in a year, you're probably going to go up about $400. Now I'm going up $500 in 1 quarter. What that tells me, if I did my math right, and I think I'm pretty good at math, so it tells me that the budget is almost like 14% higher than it was last year. Not having seen a budget, I can't tell you if that's true or not, but that's the way the numbers kind of come out. I can tell you, One of the things that also surprised me is, as I said, I looked at my house, and you can actually look at just about any residential property, actually commercial property still, on the site. I did some punching in of some addresses just to see. And lo and behold, I found a house that was assessed at a value less than my house, or more than my house, but they're paying less in taxes. The math doesn't add up. If your assessed value is higher than mine, you better be paying more than me in taxes. That's the way it works. You go out to the site. So again, because we don't have a budget and we're going with these estimates, who knows what's being put out there for the resident staff to pay? I'll be perfectly honest with you. My quarterly payment is going, as I said, it was $1,600. It's now going up to $2,094 for August. If that's right, that's telling me my taxes are going up $2,000 for the year.
All right, so I'm just gonna,
And by the way, I said, there's a
I'm gonna
house
answer it.
that's assessed at more value than mine and is paying less taxes. I hate to tell you, it's somebody on that dais.
wait, what is that?
May I ask?
Wait, let me just answer his question. So we got this question and I sent it to the tax collector and the tax assessor. And her response was, based on your new assessment value of $883,600, using the estimated tax rate of 1.462, your yearly taxes are coming to $12,918.23. Below is how we figured out the quarters. And then she gave him a breakdown and he was like, okay, because he thought the same thing. He thought his taxes were being doubled because he went and I guess he saw the same thing that you're looking at. He emailed me, I forwarded it to the tax collector and she said that's not accurate.
So what's driving this quarter up? Why
Because
do you-
we don't have a budget. So we're waiting for,
Exactly.
I know
And that's the problem that you guys need to correct sooner rather than later. And
Mr.
I know-
McGuckin,
I know it's an
Mr. McGuckin,
administrator.
did I ask you to call the state today
I've been
and
wanting
find
to
out?
vote on the budget, so.
I understand.
Yes, Council President, you did. I prepared a letter to send to DCA. It'll go out tomorrow.
I mean, to me, the residents of Jackson should just revolt and not pay taxes until you have a budget in place.
Can I ask you, what did your assessment go up to? Like, what was your value of your home and now what after reassessment?
My home went from, I forget if I still have it here. It was 120% increase. I know that.
Okay.
So when it's 120% increase, and I believe when the CFO was here, she said the per 100 is going down 50%.
Yeah.
So I would think, okay, if I'm going up 120%, I would see a more than a 50% decrease if I was going to stay even. So I already know, since it only went down 50%, I'm going up 120%. I know my taxes are going up. It's just simple math. Okay. But then to get a letter from professional appraisers, which I have right here, dated on November 12th, and it's based on the 2024 taxes, the budget. So I understand that. It said my estimated annual taxes was $7,094.07. Well, if I take the 2,000 that I'm being charged in the first quarter, I come up to over 8,000, which is a 14% increase. That tells me the budget is going up 14%.
Thank you, sir. We're working on it. If you want to email me, I'll send it to the tax collector and get you the same answer that I'd gotten the previous
Like I
resident.
said, people should not pay taxes until they have.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Charles Nowak. I live on Valley Road in Jackson. I've lived here over 40 years. And I'm here to find out if there's an ordinance about keeping your trash cans out in the street. I've called the code department and made a complaint, and they said there is no code about that. There is no statute. There's no ordinance. Does anybody know if there is an ordinance about keeping your trash cans out in the street?
Could I stop for a second? I got a ticket 9 years ago for putting my trash can out too early when I first moved into town. So there definitely is an ordinance.
There's definitely an ordinance.
We'll have to look.
Do you have that email that they told you that there's, do you have the email that code enforcement told you that there's no such ordinance?
Yeah.
Do Do you have the information that code told you that that ordinance does not exist?
Well, I called somebody in code enforcement and they, when I first called, it went to voicemail and I called about a half hour or 40 minutes later. They called me, they called back, or I talked to them and they
There is.
said that there was no code or
That's-
statute.
Okay, so you're the second person that's told me that you've gotten that answer from code enforcement. I'm gonna give you my email. If you want to wait, I'm gonna give you my card and I'll give you, and then
Okay,
just
'cause
give me
I-
the address.
Case in point, I know Lakewood Township has
No,
an ordinance. And these, turns out these neighbors I have, they keep their cans out in the street 24/7.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
And it's not one can, it's two cans, and it impedes the traffic.
Yes.
So,
I will, if you wait, I'll give you my card or you can, and I'll get that ordinance
Okay,
to you.
thank
and then
you. I
I'll get the
appreciate that.
address and we'll send it to code.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
you.
I appreciate you coming. But there's definitely no ordinance for that.
Good evening. My name is Steve Zegas. I live in Matitaconk Lakes. Question. Well, let me back it up. I'm very thankful that I'm here tonight because a week ago I drove from Jackson to Lakewood for a doctor's appointment. I nearly lost my life twice. It is an absolute shambles driving that route to get out to Toms River or Brick. There is no abeyance of the rules of the road. It's every man for himself. There is animosity that's being built on a daily basis. If you turn into Facebook, and I take that with a grain of salt, you get a sense of the fact that we truly have two different towns within the one. I'm curious what the leadership is doing to minimize the animosity and what appears to be not a hatred, but a lack of knowledge and respect of each other so we can live in a community. Right now, we're two separate groups of people with different agendas, and it's getting ugly. I think I can say that quite openly. So what's the plan? What is the diversity plan to build a program where people can first learn about the other culture? I think that the biggest issue is one of not understanding. If I don't understand your culture, I fear the culture. And that's something that has to be broken down brick by brick. It's not easy. So has there been a thought driven in this direction, or is it something we haven't really thought of yet?
There is a 34-person multicultural committee that meets every month. We hear you. Believe me, I, for one, hear you. There's so much, I call it fake book because there's so much horrible information and statements on there that just are not, I don't even go on it anymore because if I did, it's just.
If 10% of it was true, that's too much itself.
It's not. So I'm an open book. You can ask me and my counsel. We're all up here. We get brutally abused on social media every single day. My family does. Every council member up here has experienced it. It's sad. It's disheartening when you work so hard and you put so much into the town and you love the town. I've been here my life. Councilman's been here 10 years. We've all been here. We're all along. It's hard. And there's people, you have to see the stuff that I get. They put nooses around my neck. They threaten me. They come to my house. They email me threats. It's really, really, it's hard. But again, we go and we create a good ordinance and we go and people come and we find out that there's ordinances that are out there and we try to do the good for the residents. But I do agree with you. And it's
Are
sad.
there spots available on the whatever you called it? The
Council President.
Yeah, thank
Is there
you.
spots available for what?
How do you get on that committee?
Yeah,
the
if you,
multicultural
sir, if
committee?
you would like, I'll make a spot. They're not going to turn anybody away.
Okay,
If
great.
that's something that you would like to be in, absolutely, please stay. I will give you my card as
Okay.
well.
Thank you,
And I
guys.
thank you for coming here and saying that because
You're
that takes a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If I could, I want to add something.
Absolutely.
If I could just add to what the gentleman just said, I want to just say, we can have all the committees in the world, and I think they're great, but hate or acceptance, peace, love, anger, that all starts at the home, in your home, and what you teach your family. So if you want to be accepting, you need to lead by example, and I think everyone in town could use some of that.
Thank you. Councilman?
I'll
No?
let Carlos speak.
Oh,
Looking
okay.
forward.
Go ahead, sir.
Carlos Martin,
Carlos, I didn't
Jackson, New
recognize-
Jersey.
I didn't recognize you there.
You did with the hat.
Yeah, you threw me off.
I had a few things to talk about. I wasn't going to come up now, but I thought it was appropriate because of the multicultural committee.
Yes.
So I was actually on that committee for a little while. I was very enthusiastic about it. I thought, first, we have money, there's money there available, and we had some people that really wanted to make things happen. And I think exactly right. All we have to do is learn about each other. That's all we have to do. Unfortunately, I think it's the mayor controls that committee. So I had to drop out because ineffectiveness stresses me out. And so I do encourage, though, to look into that. Whatever you can do as an oversight to that committee and make it effective. They have the money, and a little bit goes a long way. So
Can we
anyway.
hold the clock for 1 second? I just want to address one thing. Obviously, we have a new business administrator. When the multicultural committee I don't know if you ever even met it yet. When the multicultural committee was founded, it was founded out of litigation, if I remember correctly. At that point, council was recommended council cannot be part of it because of some of the litigation. I would just request if the business administrator could have a conversation with our attorney about possibly some, I don't know what oversight the DOJ and the AG has over it, but if there's any way that any of us from council could be involved with it, I think we would more than happy. And whatever ideas, obviously we have a new BA with some new vision, new look, and maybe you can use some of that vision to try to help address some of the concerns that have been brought up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go back to the clock.
Thank you. Yeah, it really just needs structure and someone to, because right now it's kind of a free for all, and then nothing gets done. Okay. So that was one. The other thing that came up was the environment. That gentleman that came up and talked. So we do have an environmental committee, which I was going to complain about because it's been how many years and nothing is happening with that. And I think when Mr. Riker left, then there was nobody. So another one, the
I don't
mayor.
know.
But now I found out that we've put Mr. Hudak on that committee. Hudak?
That's a mayor appointment.
I know, but
I didn't see,
know.
I don't know that he's on it or he's not on
I think
it.
he is. I just saw it from the anyway, that's good. We need at least somebody to start heading it. I also want to be involved in that, right?
You want to be on that
I'll
committee?
be a
So send me
volunteer.
a citizen leadership.
I don't
form.
think Mr. Martin could if you're on the zone. I'm not sure if he could serve on there if he's on the zoning board.
Oh,
We'll leave
okay.
it to the attorney. You can't.
You
right?
can't?
You
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You can't be on
Sorry.
zoning.
Okay, yeah.
And we need you on
Because
zoning.
it is
so.
important, because one of the things they do is those reports. They give us, reports to the zoning board and the planning board, and to look at the environmental impact of any new ordinance, exactly what that gentleman was talking about. But
Is
we
he
haven't
left?
had that.
Is he still here?
Oh, okay,
Oh.
that's too bad, because that.
We could have put him
that's
on the
where he-
environmental.
Yes.
He'll be back in 2 weeks. I think his friend is back there. If you want to let him know if he wants to submit to the citizen leadership form for environmental commission. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. Okay.
He'd be perfect for it.
So he would.
He'd be perfect for it.
We need him.
Good.
Okay. So now back to what I was going to talk about because I got distracted.
I like the hat though.
I'm very proud of our board. What you guys are doing now with this new ordinance, the 2025 that I clapped about, that's
Thank you.
great.
We're
The
excited
monthly
about it.
reports for each one of the offices, right? So now you can track it, you can account them, right? We can see,
Yeah.
are they efficient? Are they doing their jobs? You can know your oversight duties that you have. You can apply that to the oversight duties. That's perfect with Doge.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So I applaud you guys. That's great. That's
Look
great
at
work.
you. Come every meeting.
Okay, so now one more thing. So I think some of you are going to be disappointed. I have to sack that good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
Because it takes too long. 5 minutes is not enough.
Okay.
So now I'm going into something that I call the twilight zone. Okay, so about 8 years ago when I moved here, I never thought I was moving into the twilight zone. But at one of our last meetings on the 24th, someone came up here, a self-proclaimed superhero, calls himself the Dark Guardian. And it's too bad that this Dark Guardian, the only thing he's dark about is about the facts. And he comes here and this makes believe he knows anything, first of all. Second, gives no solutions, puts stuff on TikTok that makes no sense. It's a bunch of Kamala Harris word salads. That's all it is. with no solutions. So one is, I dare him to put this on TikTok. Two is, he actually there are some points. He's making the issues, or I think correct issues, but he's got the facts behind those issues all wrong, and he's got no solutions. And so anyway, that's what I wanted to say. And I dare him to put this on TikTok.
Thank you, sir.
Council President, before any other resident, could Mr. Bresci just explain the Environmental Commission for a second?
Absolutely, please. Thank you.
On the Environmental Commission, be it the zoning board or the planning board, the applications that require an environmental impact statement is looked at. The Environmental Committee cannot decline an application. They are advisory. How the planning board over the last many, many years, 20 plus, how they've worked it, if the Environmental Committee came back without a finished statement yet, the applicant would have to comply with. If he comes back with no concern, they can continue with what they got approved for. If he comes back with a concern, they have to come back in front of us. So they are active, and there is an environmental commission that does that, along with the engineers looking at the endangered species and reports on that also. Whenever you have a major size application, you'll see that you'll get reports on endangered species, be it pine snakes, owls, or whatever, and wetlands. So that stuff is looked at on the individual applications. Thank you.
So if I could just add to Mr. Bresci, because I see Christian put it up on.
Thank you, Christian.
Our Environmental Commission has been missing staff. Mr. Riker no longer lives, my understanding, is no longer on that committee anymore. Some of the other members haven't served in a while, and I think the mayor's been soliciting for probably over a year already people to step up. There are certain trainings that people
I
do
was
need
just
to
going to say
take.
there's training.
And there have been people who have stepped up and after going to 1 or 2 trainings have said, this is not for me, and stepped down. So if we have residents who are willing to get the training and put the time in, the town's willing to pay for the training. And I think they would be able to serve on that committee. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir?
Good evening. My name is Fred Berman, and I'm a Jackson resident. After speaking to you, Mr. Bernstein, you informed me that the speech I had to make after 5 minutes, so I'm going to dummy it down.
Okay.
You claim you answer email addresses. That's not true. I've sent you many, many of email addresses, and the only person that ever responded to an email was that man sitting right there, Mr. Bernstein. And I thank you very much, Mr. Bernstein. What I'm here to talk about is this. Jackson, New Jersey, was a home to my wife for 20 years. And that's what made me move out here 20 years ago. And up until about 5 years ago, when COVID hit, I have a few friends of mine who do estate sales and cleanouts, and they used to bring me food. And during that, I saw people who couldn't get to grocery stores and were begging for food. And I opened up my house as a food pantry to over 25 of Jackson residents who couldn't get it. Now, fast forward it. I work very close with the people at the Jackson Pantry to find out that the building should have been condemned years ago by our mayor, who sits on his ass and does nothing, okay, and passes the bucket. Joy, who runs the food pantry, who I will not advocate for because she can speak for herself, has told me, Fred, I give up. I've spoken to the town council and the mayor, and I'm in between both of them. What do I do? I've had multiple, and as I told Mr. Bernstein, over 50 families ask me, Fred, when the food pantry closed, what do I do for food? I barely get food stamps. My question to the town council is, I understand very well that you've been talking to the Board of Education, but my question is, why is it always a temporary fix? Why can't Jackson have a full-time food pantry run by Jackson itself? Not that you have to hope and pray that you get someone to run it. Now, I spoke to you about this when you took my phone calls, and you told me we don't want to have people going to a church or any religious establishment for a food pantry. Now, I got a question to ask you. When people talk about food, you don't hear them going to a police station, an EMS squad, a fire department. They go to their local church. We have a church that's located in Jackson who has an open space for a food pantry. I have given people the information. I've spoken to her. And up until yesterday, nothing was being done. My second complaint is that app that you put up there earlier, or that information you put up there earlier about people who can, I guess, tell on their fellow neighbors. Does that also include land that has not yet been developed on? Because if not, as a Jackson resident, or I should say, I'm sorry to say it, a former Jackson resident, because I am not living in Jackson right now, I'm in Barnegat. But with all the people that come to me in Jackson, my in-laws, my wife's family, that come to me and say, Fred, you've got to step up. You've got to be a mouthpiece for people who can't talk. And I am an advocate. I am not a politician. I am an advocate. And I do hold you responsible. Yes, I do hold you responsible because you are not being honest. You do like to play past the bucket, and you've proven it to me over and over again. And the only person I give respect to on that council is that man right there, because he's the only person that takes the time to get back to people. Whether you curse him out, yell at him, call him the ugliest goofball in the world, I give that man respect because he got on the phone with me and said, Mr. Berman, you might be a little rough around the collar, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because you care about the Jackson people, and I do. I know what it is to grow up with food security. I know what it means to not have food on my table. So during COVID, when people knocked on my door, I could have said no, but I said, you know what, Fred? Give that woman a loaf of bread. She could use it more than you can. And today, to know that we're only at a temporary solution with the food pantry, what do you tell all those people here who need a permanent fix? A permanent fix, not a temporary solution. Because remember, once the Board of Education opens up the school in September, where's the food pantry then? It disappears. Now, the other question I have to ask you, the mayor moved the food pantry.
Sir, thank you so much. I first want to say, I think all of the council and maybe even the business administrator are all going to respond to you, but you've had your 5 minutes, but now we're going to respond to you because I think you've emailed and called and messaged everybody up here numerous times. I know that in my messenger, I probably have about 50 messages within, an hour from you. I spoke with you, and I have the communication and the emails that I've responded. I have the threats you've made against me.
When you say threats,
Telling me, sir, I'm sorry, I'm not. No, sir, I'm sorry, I cannot, because I have them here. If I don't answer you in a timely fashion, if I don't answer, do you know, telling me you're going to come to my office? I just want to talk. Listen, we've had the conversation. I did speak with you. I could show you the messages. I could show you the calls. And sir, this is not the time or place. Sir, you're out of order. You're out of order. We're all going to answer you. Okay. We're all going to answer you. And I also have your citizen leadership form that you just submitted to be on the recreation committee. And you say you stated that you lived in Jackson and you just said you lived in Barnegat. So I'm confused as to where that is coming from.
You're the one that told me to do that.
The next is the email that I sent to you and the responses that I've gotten. And I did stop answering because they didn't make sense.
You only responded to me once, man.
Pardon, sir?
Once.
I said, sir?
You responded to me once.
But you just said I never emailed you. But I talked to you on the phone.
Once.
And you said, God bless, have a great night. I don't understand. So we did answer you. I did answer you, but I felt the communication we were not getting anywhere. And I had told you that the Board of Ed was looking to possibly take over the food bank and the food pantry. And I have an email from the food pantry to me thanking, because we stepped in, the council and spoke with the food pantry, and actually emails from you, one from Joy, which she sent me as a letter stating that she herself felt that you were hostile towards her and no longer wanted to have communication. So we're just saying, if you get hostile, we're going to stop answering. I have communication with people that may not find that what I'm saying is accurate, but I will still communicate with them. But if you're hostile and you're screaming and yelling at me and threatening me, yes, sir, I will stop communication with you, and I apologize. But if you would like to start over again and start from the beginning, I have no problem. But the food pantry is fine. We did meet with the engineers. I met with the engineers, and I sat there and I met with Mr. Belinsky. He's in the back. He's sitting here so he could vouch for it. And we identified parcels that we could possibly donate to the food pantry for a forever home. But as the rest of the council is going to say, the Jackson Township Board of Education would like them to stay there. Okay. And the only reason why I didn't tell you and confirm it is because I couldn't, because they didn't have their meeting till this past Wednesday when they announced it to the public. That's for them to announce. That's not for us to announce. So that's why I said, allegedly, I believe they're going there, but I couldn't give you a 100% definite answer. And you didn't like that. So therefore, you attacked me and you called me a liar. You called me this, you called me that. I wasn't lying. It was not my thing to express to the town where the food pantry was going because the Board of Ed had to have a meeting on it and vote on it. So once they voted on it and they approved it, I just found out yesterday. So that is exactly, and it's all in black and white, and you're not going to have the rest of the council that's going to
Council
also
President,
answer
if I
that.
could just add.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, Mr. Berman, it's great seeing you. I didn't realize you were here. So nice to finally meet you in person. With regard to the idea that you had mentioned pertaining to a church, I think it was on Whitesville Road. So I did speak to the pastor who's a new, I think she came to one of our council meetings. She lives, if I remember correctly, in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. She comes there every day. I had a conversation with her. She told me that she would love to host a Jackson Food Pantry. She did tell me the church is in the need of desperate renovations, and first, some of those renovations would be necessary. So I passed that information to the food pantry as an option. The church, the pastor did call me again yesterday morning, and my phone actually died yesterday. I had to get a new phone, so I was offline for a little bit. So I told her a call back together with the council president. She had asked me if there's any grants that the town could help them with in order for the church to get renovated, in order to provide for the food pantry. So with all that being said, I think there's a lot of work that would go into maybe making the church an appropriate location for the food pantry. But I do know that I had a meeting today with the superintendent about another issue. And at the end of the meeting, I actually turned to her and I said, just Ms. Permilli, do you mind just getting an update? What's with the food pantry? And she actually walked out, pointed to the window. She showed me exactly the 2 rooms that it's going to be. Separate entrance after school hours, there forever, 5 o'clock, there forever. And I know Mr. Giuseppe has more information on that. But it's not going to be a short-term fix. The superintendent and the business administrator and the entire board voted on it. They're excited about it. And I think that's part of the great partnership that I know our council member, I know our mayor reached out originally, council president reached out, and it means that we worked very well together with the Board of Ed, but we didn't feel it was our liberty to announce anything before it was public because A, it was their credit. They really took the lead. But B, it wasn't they needed to vote in it. That vote had to pass, and it did pass. Mr. Giuseppe, do you have anything more to add?
Yeah, first, Mr. Berman, am I saying correctly? I love your passion, so thank you. And I appreciate you stepping up during COVID for those families that needed it. I think your passion is there. So thank you for that, because there's not a lot of people that have that type of passion like you do. So you're doing great work. And I hear you. It was a tragedy that the food pantry had to shutter its doors for a time. I do, again, and I said this earlier, I'm not sure if you were here, but the Jackson Board of Ed did step up. They did need to wait till the end of the school year because with the reorganization, the rooms they wanted to utilize in Memorial were in use for students. But now that the school year is over, they renovated those rooms and made them accessible for the food pantry. And as Council Vice President Bernstein said, the superintendent did not put a date of expiration on this. The superintendent and the Board of Ed, which voted on it just last week to make it official, and this is why announcements could not be made prior to that vote, were very excited to give back to the community. Actually, as soon as I called the superintendent initially when this happened, she got to work on it immediately. I know Council President Kuhn spoke with her, and she said, anything I could do to give back to the community, we will do so. So it just took a little time. Unfortunately, things do take a little time. But this is now an option for the food pantry. And as Council Vice President Bernstein just mentioned with the church or other religious organizations that wish to do so, I think that's a great idea. I think we can have multiple organizations, if they so want to voluntarily have food pantries, because I think the more would be better for our community and give more options and timeframes for when individuals and families could pick up this food. So it's an ongoing process, and I think we're making strides. Unfortunately, we were unaware of the closing until we found out on social media. Nobody even told the council, and we found out on social media that it was closed. And that's when we started to put our self-inaction to get it rectified.
It's not a Q&A, sir.
No knowledge that the food pantry is closing.
We knew that the initial, when it was located in DPW, it needed to be moved, and it was moved to the senior center.
Correct.
So we knew that move took place. But when it was being closed from the senior center, we were not notified until we saw it on social media.
Mr. Bernstein, that's not what you told me. On the phone, that's not what you told me.
Remind me, we had multiple conversations.
You told me that it was her who wanted the food pantry after it was taken out of the.
Her? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The town president.
So, Mr. Berman, that's incorrect. If I remember correctly, and it's been a lot of moving part, we've probably had over 15 or 20 conversations. If again, I guess you can quote me. From what I remember happening was that it was in across the street by DPW. That didn't work out. It had to move. They moved to the senior center.
They moved it for the primary.
They moved. We were notified that it had to move. It was not a long-term location. How exactly I found out about that, I don't remember if one of my colleagues saw it on social media, but we were notified after that decision was made. We're not putting any blame. I think the town has done and continues to do its best. We support the food pantry. I've had multiple. I discussed this with the mayor last night. The mayor, we all support the food pantry. No one is against the food pantry. That building unfortunately fell apart and is badly in the need of renovations. And I think it could be some of the communication with the changing of the guard with the former business administrator. Things weren't properly passed along to the mayor and to council. But I know going forward, we thankfully have a great line of communication with our current BA and with the mayor, and I'm pretty confident that we're not going to have those type of issues again.
Thank you, sir.
Council President, if I may.
Yeah.
If you may be aware of this already, and residents, just to make them aware, they may be aware already. Mr. Berman, you're alluding to the fact that churches, it's a great venue. Lots of churches have maybe food pantries. There's one right up the road from here on Bennett's Mills Road that you may be aware of is Jackson Baptist Church. They have an open arms food pantry.
I think the thing is when I spoke with the food pantry, it's not the churches. So the Joy that runs the food pantry is absolutely no. A lot of people don't want to go to a church. All right, that is what she had told me. So that is why they didn't want to have it at a church. Is because not everybody wants to go to a church.
And Council President, if I could just add,
you can have multiple avenues.
The
of that
conversation
because,
I had with Joy, it's a separate organization. Jackson Township had always generously hosted them. I told her that if the council and the mayor were open to looking into some of our property, about donating a piece of property, we discussed the Board of Ed. But I said, at the end of the day, it's up to you as a separate entity. You're a 501c3. You make a decision. Let us know. We will help you make that happen. And that seems to be what she's doing.
Mr. Polinsky is in the back, so he knows. We sat there and we went through a list of all the properties that the town owns. I think there was 232. We went through a couple of them, but then we went back and I went to the Board of Ed and I went to the superintendent and she said, no, keep them here. We want them. We want the food pantry to stay here. That's the whole story. I didn't answer your call because the way you were speaking to me, I just didn't feel that it was a good line of communication. And I did ask you to stop messaging me on Facebook, and I asked you to email me. So that's where it went. I want to thank everybody. Is there anybody else that wants to come up?
Seeing no one else come forward, make a motion to close public comment.
Motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second. Aye. Thank you.
Adjourn.
I got to run my knees.
Marty, what do you call you?